Oh, the 1990s. What a time those were to be around in. Not only was it a time of great music and excellent clothing, but it was a time for great TV and movies as well. But where have all the stars of those movies and shows gone? What are they up to today? On this list, we'll try to help fill in the blanks for you and give you some insight into just what your favorite 90s celebrities are doing today. Get comfy, be cool, and get ready for Then and Now, all your favorite 90s stars. 11. Melissa Joan Hart. Oh man, do you remember her? Of course you do. She starred in things like Clarissa Explains It All and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Who would have ever thought that this great and famous actress would be anywhere else besides our TV screens doing what she does best? Well, as with many other popular actors and actresses, she had her time in the spotlight, and that moment was actually a good few years, where she just seemed unstoppable. She hasn't entirely disappeared. She's actually still around and doing reasonably well for herself. Back in 2015, she even starred in a show called Melissa and Joey. She's also had some small roles in other TV shows like Law & Order SVU, and even has a couple of movies under her belt. She also works in plays on Broadway and even owns a candy shop, not to mention that she has 3 kids. So Melissa is staying busy and actually living a pretty great life these days. Good to know, right? 10. Kenan Thompson. Hey, of course we all know what Kenan is up to these days. He's still really relevant after all of his success as a kid, and everyone knows that doesn't happen all that often. After being a big part of Nickelodeon, and starring in things such as All That, Kenan and Kel, and Good Burger, he's moved on to bigger and better things. He's been a cast member on a little show called Saturday Night Live since 2003. Yes, 2003, and has appeared weekly on TV screens all across America and the rest of the world. He's the longest tenured cast member of the show and has been a part of the cast for 15 seasons. Where has the time gone? Kenan is married and now has 2 daughters of his own, so be on the lookout for more little Thompsons making a name for themselves in show business in the future. 9. Kel Mitchell. So, where there's Kenan, there's Kel. Or at least that's how it used to be. You know, back in the good old days. Kel Mitchell. Where has he been and what has he been up to all these years? It's been a good long time since he starred in Kenan and Kel, Good Burger, and All That, but Kel isn't gone from the business. No sir, he's actually currently a cast member of the Nickelodeon show Game Shakers, and has been in a number of TV shows and movies since his heyday. If you look into his filmography, you'll see that he's far from gone, and you might even find some things that he's been in that you didn't even realize. He did audition to become a part of Saturday Night Live, but lost out to his old pal and co-star, Kenan Thompson. He's currently married and living happily with his wife, rapper Asia Lee. 8. Amanda Bynes. Goodness, don't you remember this sweet young girl from back in the day? She too was a big name and big star for Nickelodeon and did many shows and projects for them in her time. She even had her own show, The Amanda Show, and was on the show that launched a lot of young people's careers, All That. She also appeared in movie after movie, and her life just seemed to keep getting better and better. But all that came to a halt for a time, back in 2010, when she announced her hiatus from acting. Then, starting in 2012, things got a little crazy for the young Nickelodeon star, and she began getting in legal trouble and had a bunch of highly publicized feuds on Twitter, and basically had a full-fledged meltdown akin to that of Britney Spears. She seemed to recover though, and went to fashion school graduating this year, and announced that she would be returning to television, acting sometime in the not-too-distant future. Hopefully she can rebuild and do well for herself again. We all love a good redemption story. 7. Alyson Hannigan. This girl was also another one of those famous young celebrities back in the 90s, but she didn't start out on Nickelodeon. No, she went a different path and still ended up with a reasonably successful career from it. You may remember her from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where she played Willow, a witch that began as one of Buffy's closest friends, but by the end, was almost the catalyst of world destruction. She also had a pretty significant role in the American Pie series, and played everyone's favorite band chick, who ended up as Jim's wife in the end. Well, what's she gone on to do? She's been in plays, starred in How I Met Your Mother, has been in a few films, and now hosts Penn & Teller's Fool Us. She's married to one of her Buffy co-stars and has 2 children with him. Sounds like she's still doing quite a lot of work, and has made a pretty great life for herself. 6. Sarah Michelle Gellar. You may remember this popular celebrity as the youngin on All My Children, or as the titular character on the hit show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's also been in plenty of movies. things like I Know What You Did Last Summer, Cruel Intentions, and Scooby-Doo. She was a part of a few bigger projects after all of that, but then she sort of disappeared for a while. Why? Because she decided to take a little hiatus after the birth of her daughter in 2009, but she came back, and came back hard following that. She starred in Ringer, reprised a few of her roles from the early years, was part of Robin Williams' show The Crazy Ones, and is living her life as a mom of her 2 children and as a wife to fellow actor Freddie Prinze Jr. Sounds like she's got her hands full and has come a long way since the 90s. 5. Freddie Prinze Jr. Well, now that we mentioned his name, we figured we couldn't just skip him and move on to other 90s stars. Freddie was highly popular and was definitely a teen heartthrob back in the day, and we wanted to find out a little more about what he was up to now. Before we get to that though, what do you remember him from? Is it I Know What You Did Last Summer? Maybe it's She's All That or Scooby-Doo. Perhaps it's from his 2005 sitcom Freddie. Whatever you know him from, there's no doubt that you know or remember him. So where is he now? He's been on shows like 24 and Boston Legal, and has done a lot of voiceover work. He also worked for WWE for a time, which is pretty interesting. But now, he focuses a lot of time on things like cooking, family, and video games. He's released his own cookbook, and in 2018, started his own YouTube channel that's concentrated on games of all kinds. Crazy. We're glad he's still doing well. 4. MarkPaul Gosselaar. You know that you all remember this guy. He was a heartthrob for some time after landing the role of Zach Morris in none other than the hit TV show Saved by the Bell. Prior to that, he had modeled for years and years, since he was 5 years old, and even won some guest spots on television shows as a young boy. Following his years as Zach Morris, Gosselaar was able to land roles in a number of movies and has starred in or made appearances on lots and lots of TV shows. Some of these include NYPD Blue, Raising the Bar, and Franklin and Bash, where he played Peter Bash, one of the show's leading roles. He doesn't look much like he used to, but that hasn't stopped his career any. He went on to achieve great things and continues to do so today. He has 4 children through 2 different marriages and enjoys dirt biking, flying planes, driving race cars, and track cycling. 3. Matthew Lawrence. Surely you remember this 90s star. Not only was he popular and a star back in the day, but his brothers were also in the spotlight and stars as well. He started out acting in the mid-1980s, but didn't really hit his prime and the limelight until the 1990s, when he landed the role of Chris in Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams. He then got a relatively significant role as Sean Hunter's brother Jack on Boy Meets World, which sort of helped to solidify him as a real teen heartthrob. He did a movie with his real brothers called Brotherly Love, and then got the role of a boyfriend put in a very awkward position, in The Hot Chick. He's since gotten parts in a bunch of movies, and has appeared in a number of TV shows, and was last seen in 2016 in a film called Evol: The Theory of Love. He's engaged to professional dancer Cheryl Burke, and has been dating her since 2017. 2. Joshua Jackson. Please tell us that you remember this Mighty Duck. Well, you should, as he was the main character in all of the Mighty Ducks films, and really killed it as Charlie. Well, he did other things besides that, like, you know, playing Pacey in Dawson's Creek and appearing in films like Cruel Intentions and Bobby, which coincidentally was directed by his coach from his hockey days, Emilio Estevez. He's also done stage work over in London and currently stars in the Showtime series The Affair. He dated actress Diane Kruger for 10 years and shared multiple residences with her in Los Angeles, Vancouver, where he's from, and Paris. They broke up, and he's kind of just chillin' now. Chillin' and enjoying the perks of cold hard cash. 1. Luke Perry. Alright, do you remember the TV show Beverly Hills 90210? Well, do you remember the good-looking Dylan from the show? Dylan was played by Luke Perry at 2 different times, between 1990 and 1995, and then again from 1998 to 2000. He first rose to prominence following some roles in soap operas in the late 1980s, and after appearing in a music video for Twisted Sister. In the 90s, he won roles that helped him quickly rise to the teen idol status, like a supporting role he got in the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, and then Terminal Bliss in 1992. He starred in a few more movies and had roles in TV shows throughout the rest of the 90s, and he basically did the same throughout the 2000s, as well as acting a bit on stage in the US and in London. Today he stars as Archie Andrews' father, Fred Andrews, on the hit CW series Riverdale. He was married to Rachel Minnie Sharp from 1993 until 2003, and the couple share 2 children together. It's actually really nice to see so many of our favorite 90s stars doing so well and continuing their careers after falling out of the direct spotlight to make room for all the fresh faces today. Had you forgotten about any of these celebrities? Were you surprised about the lives that they're living today? Talk to us in the comments. Go ahead and click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to keep an eye out for great new videos by us every few days.